day as Secretary of Agriculture before a conservation group such as this. A valedictory is usually a summing up and a glimpse at the future. We have reached a juncture in American life where such an assessment and evaluation is in order. For almost 200 years, we as a nation have used the land and its resources to create a plenitude of things to satisfy man's physical needs, such as the world has never seen. We have tamed the wilderness, opened the frontier, put 2 cars in many garages and a television set in every living room in a rush of progress that has left us unsatisfied, uneasy, for in many ways today progress seems to have left us trailing in its wake, out of control, wondering where it will take us next. The frontier is closed, space is limited, people are bumping into people for the first time in our society. The evidence of our opulence is displayed for all, rich and poor, on television, in the newspapers and magazines, and on the radio. But our ability to enjoy this opulence is eroding. The second car goes no faster through traffic congestion than the first. The half hour gained by the shorter workday is canceled by the hours commuting to the job and back. The poor who see this affluence and cannot share it march across our TV screens, and we are troubled and agitated. We have been changing the natural environment at a rate faster than nature can handle it, and we are getting a feedback from nature in the form of smogged up air, polluted rivers, silted harbors, and algae-covered lakes. We are discovering, in short, that in the pell-mell drive of progress, we have achieved an unprecedented quantity of life with little, if any, thought to the quality of life. Our cities are not only centers of culture and commerce, but of congestion and strife. The countryside is a haven of quiet, but too often the quiet of decay, the peace of decline. Students revolt, minorities riot, the poor march on Washington. It is an uncomfortable time, but with all its discordant notes, this is also a stirring, challenging, rousing time in which to live, offering a unique opportunity to structure the future of the nation by shaping the future of the land. Thanks to technology and to its progress, we as a nation have for the first time the resources and the time to re-chisel the face of the nation in terms of the best utilization of all of its land for all of its people, to make it anew in terms of quality of life, not quantity of life. There is no longer a cogent reason why human beings should be stacked at the rate of more than 122,000 per square mile in Harlem, why 43 out of every 100 country boys reaching working age must go elsewhere to find jobs, why millions of Americans must spend much of their lives standing in line waiting in traffic while millions of others watch the grass grow in the cracks of Main Street. There is no reason for people to spill out haphazardly over the land. Today we see ugly cities along the highways, subdivisions of cities, leapfrog one upon another, felled to trees, silt up streams. There is absolutely no sense at all in the kind of thinking that says this trend has impacted cities and depopulated countryside, and it must continue. It can be halted. It will require a national commitment by people and governments at all strata to develop a basic conservation policy and use of resources and space for people. But it can be done, and it must be done, because we are expecting at least 100 million more Americans to be living on this land by the year 2000. 300 million of us, 3 people standing in a little more than 30 years where 2 stand today. That means 3 people in the school, on the highway, at the clinic, by the seashore, at the lake, on the street. This nation has been blessed with space for these people. There is room and to spare if we use it. It is obvious that we are not using it now, not when 70% of us are elbowing throughout life on a little less than 2% of the land. Gloomy as this picture sounds, there is cause for hope, stemming largely from the countryside where many are waking to the consequences of lopsided growth. Steps are being taken in growing numbers of communities to redress rural-urban imbalance, to stop impacting the cities and to repopulate the countryside, to build the community of tomorrow worthy of human dignity will require a spirit of cooperation, an end to contention between units of government, with the resultant wasting of energy over states' rights, local rights, and the ascendancy of the federal power. And in this election year, we hear the voice of demagoguery in shrill voice cry once again, consuming time and slowing progress. The Department of Agriculture has elevated the human equation in the care and use of resources, an equation that says environment must nurture the spirit as well as house the body. The conservation means the balanced use of resources that truly husbands and conserves them. There was a time when it made sense, it was necessary to locate cities near sources of transportation and power, but cities need no longer be tied to the railhead, waterfall, or seaport. No one will have a more important role on the frontier of balanced growth than the soil conservationist, the man who cared for the land when few others did, who conserved the resources that many others would have squandered. Your knowledge and your dynamism will be needed as never before if we are to gear the land and water resources of the United States for balanced growth in terms of all the people. The weight of your expertise can raise local eyes from the city limits, past the county line and across the state border to the geography of a nation. For in the end, the destinies of the smallest town, the remotest farm, the biggest city, lie in one nation, one people. You will be amply repaid for your part in building the community of tomorrow when future Americans say to you they loved the land and the clear running stream, they appreciated the value of the forest and the field, they showed us how to fashion from quantity a quality of life. This went off. Right there.
I'm sorry, the battery was like really low. Yeah, that should have tried.
That was pretty snappy.
That was.
Gotta give you a run for your money. It's up there.